How are you? I hope you're good. Today we are here to speak about what I have read during the month of October and also what I'm planning on reading in November. This is probably not gonna be a very long video because I have not read a lot of things and I don't really anticipating on reading a bunch this month. So that being said, October did include a Charms extra credit readathon, so I did read a couple of things, thank God. Cats are playing in the bag, so if there's sounds, that's why. So the first thing that I did finish in October was a manga called Your Name Volume 1. This I basically started reading because I was really intrigued by this body swap idea, because it was something that I really enjoyed throughout my life, like especially when I was a teen. I really liked all of those cheesy movies when people swap bodies to learn a lesson, to be able to swap back. So I thought it was something like this. So a lot of you guys said that the anime is much better than the manga, which I'm hoping for, because whilst I did enjoy this, it was sort of really try hard and a bit hectic. It took me a while to like get into it. So I am excited to see the anime, and I think there's only 3 volumes of this, so I will read the manga beforehand. I gave it 3 stars because it was, as I said, it was enjoyable, but it was a little bit of mumbo jumbo at the beginning and it was a little bit try hard, and I felt like it didn't really set up any rules, so it wasn't as entertaining to read about, because there's one thing where you just guess because it's fun to guess, and you don't know everything but you're intrigued to go on further, and it's quite different when you're just like, what? Like, give me something kind of way. So that was the first thing that I read. I have finished Thunderhead, which is the second book in the Scythe, is that how it's called? Trilogy? Second to Scythe, at least. This is by Neil Shusterman, and I love this one. It was an audiobook, and I have had a sort of like a complicated relationship with audiobooks recently for some reason. Can't focus on them, but this one kept my attention so well. The narrator did a brilliant job, and the plot in this was, I really enjoyed it, and the ending especially, because for the most part I listened to audiobooks just before bed, and that one I was just like laying in bed but like with my eyes like really wide open. I was like, what? And I just really liked it. It was very atmospheric as well. It was just, I felt like it was easy to read or listen to, but it was so, I don't know, maybe I read it in the really right time. I just really had such a great time with it that when I ran it through Copile, it did scrape 5 stars. I cannot wait for the third one. I just really had such a good time, and especially like plot-wise, which is, I am not like a plot-driven person per se, but this one really hit the spot on that one. So it is definitely still on a slower part, especially inside. This one maybe less so, but there's definitely slow parts too. I adore actual Thunderhead and its involvement. I am big on artificial intelligence as well. Scythe is basically a story about a world where death of natural causes does not exist, so there's the Scytheathon. People get recruited only if they don't want to be a Scythe, or at least it was like that for the most part, but now there's some corruption in the Scytheathon, and we have 2 characters that are introduced into Scytheathon, and then we see people are going against what this was all set up to be, and they want to basically have anarchy and do whatever the heck they want because they're giving the power. But it just really escalates in this one, and oh, actual Thunderhead. I don't know who I like better, Thunderhead or Aiden. I just don't know. I like this one way more than the first book, which is usually like the other way around, so I'm very impressed and I'm really looking forward to it. And again, as I said, maybe it's because of the timing that I read it to, but regardless, really enjoyed it. The next book that I finished was The Extinction Trials. This was also for my Charms extra credit read. I swear to God, they slept all day and only now they're like, let's party! If you want to hear more of the in-depth thoughts, if you read this as well, there was the live show of the Quarterly Club where we all shared our opinions on this. This sadly was not the biggest hit in my books. I gave it 3 stars still because on the enjoyment part, I really still enjoyed it. However, so many things did not make sense that in a Copile, which is my rating system, logic bit, I gave it a 0, I believe, or like 0.5, which is the lowest I've ever given a book. I kept questioning things after things after things on every page, which really took me out of the story. I didn't understand some of the motives. A lot of things were really iffy. This is a dystopia and it's about a very overpopulated Earth, and this other continent where only because of some environmental factors only dinosaurs live in. And then there's this, and basically all of the resources are very sparse and people are really struggling to eat and to provide for their family and to find space to live in. We follow some characters that enter the competition to be selected to go on an expedition into the other continent and retrieve some information about the dinosaurs, because if you manage to return from that expedition, you and your family are granted all of the resources to live really comfortably for the rest of your lives. So that motivation is clear, but it was just really weird. Like, some things did not make sense, as in like, why don't you have that information? Why is there technology but everything seems to be so regressed? Anyway, so I could not for the life of me give it more than 3 stars, and it was a weak 3 stars as it is. I think I don't believe that I will continue with the stories, but it wasn't like terrible by any means. I still enjoyed it. It's a very easy read. It is written in a very simple language, so if you are looking into something a bit more on the easy side and you like dystopians, this might be absolutely perfect for you. It does read fairly quickly if you want to, so there's that. And the last thing that I finished in the month of October, well actually I think on the 1st of November, but anyway, was The Girls of Paper and Fire. This was actually sort of for work, which I cannot believe I get to say now. So my job primarily is not reading, don't get too excited. I am hosting a read-along with Fairy Loot and for the Girls of Paper and Fire books, so I had an arc to read and prepare the read-along and prompts and like discussions and, you know, posts and stuff, basically to prepare again before time. This is a very touching story about a girl who is taken as a concubine to serve to a king, and this is in a world where there are 3 different classes. Oh, hello. So there are demons who are supposedly superior to everyone else, the mixture between demons and humans, and then humans, which is like the lowest class. And our girl, and every year there are 8 selected girls from the lowest class of humans, which are called paper girls, who are there to basically just serve and pleasure the king in a sexual manner. And there is a trigger warning included in the book, which I absolutely appreciate so much, and I said it so many times and I'll say it again. I just wish all books would do, because it's just a reasonable and responsible thing to include and it doesn't cost that much more. Definitely worth it, and I really appreciate that they did include that. So there is a trigger warning for sexual assault, so it's definitely something to keep in mind, but it's also topics that are so important to address, because otherwise they're just gonna be kept silent, and that's not something that we would want, and that is not something that's gonna benefit us in the long term at all. But definitely keep that in mind if it's something that triggers you, because your mental health always comes first. I really enjoyed this book. There were things that I thought could definitely be improved, but I think it was just such an important read, and it's also an LGBT. Our main character is also a lesbian, so there's a representation for that as well. I just thought it was a very important fantasy read, and I would like to see more of those. I am yet to run this through Cowpile. I'm still working on the read-along, so if you want to join the read-along, that would be really cool. It's all over on Fairy Loot, so there's more details there if you want to. And I will be posting my thoughts there in more detail, but obviously spoilery. But anyway, that is that book that I also read during the month of October. Okay, so at the time of filming, it's already 6th of November, so I did finish a graphic novel. I think I will speak about it in the next wrap-up. One other thing that I want to mention is what I've been watching. One thing that I did watch during the Charms readathon, unrelated to it though, was the documentary on Alphago. That is the self-learning artificial intelligence that was battling a world champion of a game called Go. It is a very, very difficult game that is very hard to predict, and it was actually very touching, and I didn't realize I will feel so connected to the person or just like rooting for the person playing, but also rooting for the AI, because that's also human work, you know. It's just, it was very, very entertaining and very interesting. So if you're interested in something like that, that is the program here. I'm hoping to insert the picture because I'm not 100% certain that's the name of the documentary, but it is on Netflix, so if you're interested in that, I highly recommend. Also, if you know any other really cool documentaries that are on Netflix that are not food related, leave the comment down below suggesting that, because I am really in the mood for that sometimes. The next thing that me and Logan actually watched together was an anime called SteinsGate. This is an anime focused on time traveling, and it is so good. I so recommend it. It was, first of all, it was hilarious. So many times we actually, like, you know, properly laughed out loud because it's so funny. The main character, the whole group is just, it's hilarious. But then at some point shit really hits the fan and it gets really dark, and it comes back to humor at some points as well. But so it was basically the whole package. It was really well done and humorous and heartbreaking and intriguing, and everything was just perfect. And there's only one season, so it's not like a big commitment. There are, I think, like 25 episodes. Like, once you're done with that, you're done. I really recommend it. There were a couple of bits that I was like, but they shouldn't know that, they shouldn't know the information here if this is the way that they're going for the time travel thing. So that sort of like bugged me a little, but it's just me being a bit annoying with these type of things. But otherwise, overall, I really enjoyed it and highly recommend. It's getting so dark, and I know when, like, when I film during the evening light, I always look so pale, like paler than I usually even am. It's possible, I swear. So if I look like a ghost, happy Halloween! Now, I only have two things that I know I really want to get to for sure during this month. So the first one is Muse of Nightmares, which is the second book to the Strange at Reborn. The dust jacket is off, which, you know, means that I have already started it. I am not far in. I am literally like, oh, I don't even have a bookmark in there. I'm like 30 pages in or something like that. There is another bookmark here, which is where Logan is. So we're basically reading the same book. But I am very excited about this. I've started. I love the 30 pages that I did read. I love being back in the world. I love Lainey's writing so much, but time. I'm very short on time recently. It's just because there's so many other things to do when you move. You know, you have to like clean so many things. It's always just cleaning. But anyway. Okay, this is literally a mystery. I tried to find the book that I held for the thumbnail, at least for sure, right? It's the book in a jar for the month of November, which I didn't have a chance to film a video for, but I do always announce these on Instagram mainly, because that's where the voting happens as well. And the Goodreads group is set up, so if you want to join, please do. And we are reading Snow Like Ashes. I'm so just weirded out because I just had it and I just can't see it. Like, I stood up and looked for it and everything, I just can't find it. I'll insert a picture here by Sarah Rash. I don't know much about it, but you guys voted for this even when it was put together with Bookroast and Lifelike, and it seems like, see, I'm hoping that it's gonna be really good, and yeah, we are reading that, so definitely going to try to get to that. Other than that, I'm leaving it open. I probably will, I don't really anticipate reading much more than this. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, I don't know. Oh, actually, I did start listening to The Forgetting, well, the second book to The Forgetting, which is like the Knowing or something. I'm only like 10 minutes into the audiobook. I was trying to listen to that when I was going to IKEA because it's like an hour on a bus, but I was literally, what is happening? It was like, it seemed like it's not connected to the previous one, which maybe is some sort of like prologue bit. I don't know. I will try and get back into it, but I was like, what? So we'll see if I swap for it or not. Maybe I'll return it, because you can do that on Amazon, by the way. If you didn't know, if you don't like a book, you can still return it and get another one. I think that is everything. Let me know if you read any of the books that I've mentioned, if you're joining me in the book in the jar thing, what's the best book that you read in October. Let me know stuff. Chat to me down below. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys have a really good reading month ahead of you. Stay awesome, stay kind, and I'll see you next time. Bye!